You think it was the rage that built you? Huh? That fury, that fire they sparked inside you, that storm you kept caged behind your teeth. You really believe that's what made you strong? Let me break it to you slowly, painfully, the only way truth ever arrives. Rage is cheap. Anyone can burn the world down when they're mad enough. That's easy. That's weak. You know what's hard? Huh? Real hard? Waking up every day, swallowing the same poison, hearing the same laughs behind your back, feeling the same blade twist in your chest from people you once swore you'd die for, and not snapping. That's discipline. That's real power. Not explosions, not tantrums. Control. Cold, calculated, silent control. That's what made you dangerous. And see, people got it twisted. They see a man walking, quiet, keeping to himself, not screaming, not swinging. They call him weak. They call him soft. But I know what that silence hides. I know the war inside your head. You've buried battles no one ever saw. You've bled in rooms with no windows. You've built empires out of ashes, your own ashes. You trained yourself to smile when everything inside you begged to scream. And that's why they're afraid of you. Not because you shouted, not because you broke something, but because you didn't. You could have. You wanted to, but you didn't. They pushed you, tested you, lied to your face, stabbed your back, and you just kept moving. You didn't beg. You didn't whine. You didn't throw a fit. You studied. You trained. You waited. You evolved. That's what real monsters do. Not bark, not bite. Just observe, sharpen, strike once, silence again. You know who survives in the end? Not the loudest. Not the one with the biggest fists or the angriest screams. It's the discipline. The one who shows up even when he's broken out. The one who works when nobody's watching. The one who doesn't post his pain. Doesn't seek sympathy. Doesn't crumble when left alone. That's you. And they don't even see it coming, do they? They're too busy underestimating, laughing, mocking, thinking they've broken you because you didn't react. But that's the trap, isn't it? You weren't silent because you lost. You were silent because you were loading. Let them laugh. Let them think they've won. That's the funniest part. They think your quiet is weakness when it's actually your reload time. The calm before your storm. You're not done. You're just not loud about it. You're the kind of person who takes pain, turns it into fuel, takes betrayal, turns it into plans, takes loss, turns it into legacy. That's the kind of threat they can't measure. Because you're not burning with rage anymore. You're freezing with purpose. And that, my friend, is scarier than any scream. They thought breaking you would be the end of your story. No, it was just the end of your kindness, the end of your softness. What's left is focused, brutal, disciplined. And that's the version they can't predict. You used to fight for people. Now you fight for the vision, the future, the silence. And every step you take now, it terrifies them because you're not shouting, you're not swinging wildly, you're thinking, you're moving strategically. And that kind of danger, it doesn't come with warning signs, it comes with aftermaths. So remember this. Whenever you start to feel like you lost your edge, like you're too calm, too detached, remind yourself, rage is a flicker, discipline is a flame. One dies quick, the other burns forever. You don't need to prove anything. Your scars already speak volumes. Your silence already screams louder than their noise. Keep walking, keep working, and when the day comes, they'll see. They'll see exactly what they created. And it won't be rage that destroys them. It'll be the monster that patience built. You remember those nights you sat in silence, don't you? Eyes wide open, staring at a ceiling that never answered your questions. Those weren't just sleepless nights. They were sharpening sessions. You were molding yourself in the dark while the rest of them slept easy, thinking the game was over. They had no idea the real game hadn't even started. You weren't losing. You were transforming. Quietly, painfully. Every betrayal, a lesson. Every place, a map. Every lie they told you, a reminder of why they thought you were just suffering. Number you were building, you were becoming. Piece by piece, controlled, cold, focused. You didn't raise your voice, you raised your standards. And now look at them, still running their mouths, still trying to trigger the old version of you. They want that unfiltered rage, that emotional wreck, the guy who reacts, who bleeds in front of them. But that version's dead. You buried him without a funeral. What stands in his place now is a man with eyes like a scalpel, precise and unmerciful. You're not here to entertain their drama anymore. You're not here to seek revenge either. You're here to build something that outlives the noise, to create results so real, so undeniable, that they won't have the guts to say your name without swallowing regret. And they will regret it. Not because you got angry, but because you didn't. Because you didn't break down in front of them. Because you didn't go begging for closure. You just vanished. You vanished into a darker version of yourself. And in that void, you trained. You leveled up. You grew into a silence so loud it echoes in every room you once stood in. And that echo, it haunts them. Because it reminds them they lost something irreplaceable. You, your presence, your loyalty, your time, your mind. And when someone like you detaches, that's not just loss, that's devastation. But let me tell you why discipline is feared more than rage. Rage is messy, it's reactive, it's emotional. It burns everything, including the one who holds it. But discipline? Discipline is a scalpel. Clean, silent, sharp. It doesn't shout. It doesn't warn. You didn't survive all this by accident. You didn't walk through hell just to be average. You didn't lose everything just to play nice again. You were forced into a corner. Life left you no choice but to evolve. And you didn't evolve into a bigger monster. You became the surgeon of your own resurrection. Controlled, calculated, quiet. You stopped reacting. That's when you became lethal. That's when the fear started creeping in around them. Because they couldn't read you anymore. They couldn't play your emotions like piano keys anymore. You stopped being the puppet. You cut the strings, and suddenly you were the one holding the scissors. That silence, that's power. That stillness, that's intelligence. You watch, you measure, you wait. And when you move, it's surgical. It's final. It's something no rage-fueled fool can ever compete with. People forget. Rage is loud, but undisciplined. It'll punch a wall and break its own hand. Discipline? Discipline builds the wall that traps their entire world. You don't waste energy anymore. You don't chase closure. You give them distance. You don't replace. You don't scream, watch me. You just let your actions be the nightmare they never wake up from. You became the thing they can't out-talk, can't outlast, can't outrun. You didn't let rage drive you. You let silence sculpt you. And now you walk different. You speak less. You move smarter. You think sharper. You exit faster. That's what danger really looks like. Not a beast screaming in the streets, but a ghost in the system. Unseen, unbothered, unmatched. You went from being the story they laughed at to the silence that exposes their weakness. And you did it not by losing control, but by mastering it. You know what really scares them now? It's not that you're angry, it's that you're not. It's that you don't flinch anymore, that you don't explain yourself, that you don't react when they poke. You just stare. You just nod. You just disappear. That's the part they didn't plan for. They were ready for the chaos, the yelling, the breakdowns, but they weren't ready for the version of you that doesn't need an audience, that doesn't chase answers, that doesn't bleed for people who'd watch you die and still say it was your fault. You became a mystery they can't decode anymore. And people hate what they can't understand. They control. And you turned into something ungovernable. See, that discipline, it's not just about routines and hard work. No, it's about restraint. It's about denying your own urges to slap the hell out of someone who deserves it. It's about smiling while they gossip, knowing damn well the truth would burn their whole lie-built world to the ground. It's about walking away when everything in you wants to throw hands. That's not weakness. That's God tier strength. And most people don't have it. They act on impulse. You act on principle. They chase validation. You chase legacy. They want attention. You want results. And that's why they hate you, even when they say they love you. They don't know how many times you could have exposed them, destroyed them, humiliated them, but you didn't. Not because you couldn't, but because you're too focused, too evolved, because their drama is a distraction and you got bigger demons to kill inside every day. You think they could survive what you survived? You think they could carry your weight without collapsing? Remember, they'd fold, they'd cry, they'd post quotes online and beg for pity. You didn't do that. You went silent. You built in the dark. And now the light doesn't even tempt you. You found peace in shadows. You found home in the chaos. And that's the type of discipline that separates you from the herd. You know what's wild? You used to explain yourself, defend yourself, try to prove your intentions, make people see your heart, make them understand you were different, that you were loyal, that you were real. And all it did was drain you, hurt you, exhaust you. Now, you let them misunderstand you. You let them assume. You let them paint whatever image they want because you don't owe anyone clarity anymore. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself progress. And every time you bite your tongue instead of snapping back, every time you walk away instead of exploding, every time you choose growth over revenge, you win quietly, permanently, painfully for you. And that's what discipline does. It changes your appetite. You stop craving attention and start craving results. You stop needing to be liked and start needing to be respected. You stop begging for love and start demanding loyalty. You stop explaining your worth and start living like it's unquestionable. You become so solid that no form can shake you, so sharp that no lie can dull you, so silent that your absence screams louder than their presence ever could. That's power. That's what they fear, not rage.
For a creator can feel like you've always got to be on, always live. It's overwhelming.
Do you ever realize how loud silence can be? Huh. Not the kind of silence that fills a quiet room. Explain yourself. When you stop begging. When you stop giving second chances to people who threw your heart on the floor like a cigarette butt. That silence is louder than any scream. It echoes and it hurts, but not you, not anymore. It kills them quietly. See, kid, the mistakes people make, they think vengeance is loud. Explosions, words, fists, drama. But that ain't it. That's weak people showing off because they still care. You want to really hurt someone who broke you? You don't argue. You don't cry. You don't threaten. You disappear. You go silent. You go ghost. That's the punishment they never saw coming. Because when you stop talking, they start hearing everything they did on repeat in their own damn minds. Let me tell you a story. You ever seen a wolf leave the pack? Not barking, not howling, just vanishing? They think he's gone, broken, weak. He comes back with scars, eyes colder than ice, and no mercy in his chest. That's not a villain, just someone who learned how to shut up and watch as karma takes the wheel. Because the people who wrong you, they don't fear your anger. They fear your absence. Your silence is a reminder they ain't worth a word from your lips. You want to know why this works? I'll break it down for you real slow. People are addicted to control. They want to know they still got a piece of you, that you still care, that they still matter. So every time you answer, even with a rage, they feel alive. But when you stop responding, when you stop reacting, that's when they panic. That's when it hits them. You took your power back without a sound. Let me paint it darker for you. Imagine this. Someone betrayed you, lied, cheated, humiliated you. They expected you to fight, to scream, to break, but you didn't. You just vanished. No closure, no explanation. Now they sit there, scrolling your old messages, stalking your socials, wondering if you hate them, if you still care, if you moved on. It's a prison, a psychological one. You didn't lift a finger, but you bury it deep. People don't understand the art of silence. It's not about cowardice. It's about mastery. You gotta reach a point where your peace is louder than any revenge, where your calm is more terrifying than your chaos. That's when you win, not by getting even, but by getting unreachable. Let me tell you something else, and listen close. This is important. You don't owe anyone a response, not the people who left when you needed them, not the ones who broke your trust, not the ones who only come around when they're bored. No, you owe yourself peace. You owe yourself growth. And sometimes that means cutting the damn cord, even if your hands are bleeding. You know why most people can't walk away? Because they're scared of being alone. But let me ask you, weren't you already alone when they ignored you? When they lied to you? When they made you feel like a burden? So what exactly are you scared of losing? Something that never existed in the first place. Silence ain't empty. It's full of answers. And if you shut up long enough, you'll hear the truth in that quiet. You'll hear your worth echo back at you. You'll feel the weight lift off your chest. No more explaining your heart to people who treat it like a doormat. You know what silence teaches you? Control. The kind of control you never had when you were explaining yourself to people who already made up their minds. the kind you lost every time you beg someone to understand you when they never intended to listen. Silence teaches you to stop reaching, to stop offering, to stop handing out pieces of your soul to people who came only to take. And once you master, kid, it's game over. Because people don't know what to do with silence. They can't argue with it, can't manipulate it, can't twist it, can't use it against you. They're left alone with themselves. And trust me, that's a punishment far worse than your words could ever be. You gotta stop thinking closure is a conversation. That's a scam they sold you to keep you tied to pain. You want real closure? Walk away. Quietly, proudly. Don't send that text. Don't answer that call. Let them wonder. Let them rot in the silence they built for themselves. Because you don't owe them peace after they handed you war. You don't owe them softness after they handled you like you were disposable. You owe them nothing. You don't go back for explanations, not when they had every chance to understand you when you were still there, still loyal, still trying. If they didn't care when you were crying, they sure as hell don't deserve your words. Now you're stronger. People love to test you. They'll stab you, then act confused when you bleed. They'll burn you, then blame you for smelling like smoke. But you know what really kills them? When you don't respond, when you don't validate their games with your attention, when you just vanish. You ghost like you never existed, but every day your silence screams in their ears. They hear it in every quiet night, every dull moment, every little shadow of guilt that creeps in. They feel it when they realize your love was real and now it's gone. They remember every moment they took you for granted, and now it's a memory they can't escape. Here's some truth wrapped in razor wire. Most people only apologize when their comfort gets disturbed, not because they regret hurting you. You'll know this when you finally stop talking. That's when the fake "I miss you" messages come in. That's when they try to bait you with fake love, nostalgia, little traps to reel you back into their mess. But you ain't a fool anymore. You've seen the trick. You've lived the betrayal. You know what it feels like to bleed in silence while they sleep peacefully. So don't fall for it. Don't answer. You survived the worst of it alone. Now walk like it. Walk like someone who buried their past and never marked the grave. Let me throw something darker at you. Sometimes they'll come back not because they love you, but because they hate losing control over you. And if you answer, if you give them even a crumb of attention, you're feeding the beast that tried to destroy you. That's why silence ain't just revenge, it's survival. It's you reclaiming your throne without a word. It's you saying, I don't need to prove anything. My peace says enough. And you walk on. No noise, no drama, just strength in your silence. That's power they can never steal again. You ever seen a candle go out? No explosion, no firework, just silence. And you need to become tears without a sound. and leaves behind a cold void.